Hi, this is Melanie of Pardesi Reviews, and I'm here with a special guest, Dev of the YouTube channel Wandering Soul. And he has convinced me to watch a classic Hindi film, Bombay Ka Babu, starring Dev Anand. And this was my very first Dev Anand film. And I have to say, I am completely smitten. He is an amazing screen presence. This was a real breath of fresh air to watch this old classic black and white film. It's so different than anything that I'm watching in current Hindi cinema. And I've been meaning to watch more classics, and I'm glad Dev spurred me on to watch this old film. So can you tell me, Dev, why did you pick this film in particular that you wanted me to watch of a classic film?
Sure, Melanie. And first of all, I want to thank you, for this collaboration. I have been watching your channel for a long time, and I wanted to, kind of touch base with you for some movies. So, and hello, guys. So,
It's always
with
better to have a conversation. So
I agree.
I'm looking forward to this discussion because you have a lot of knowledge about this classic film, and I want to learn more about it, especially after having seen it.
Sure. So, couple of reasons. I think because I went through your, the catalog of the movies that we have reviewed, and I saw that you touched a lot of old ones, but you didn't have any of Devanam, and you had a couple of Raj Kapoor movies and a Dilip Kumar movie, Mughal Azam. I think that sticks out because Dilip Kumar, Raj Kapoor, and Devanam, they were called the triumvirate, the ruling trio of the 1950s and 60s in Hindi cinema. So, and you already had reviewed Raj Kapoor and Dilip Kumar, so I thought maybe it will be nice if I can introduce some Devanam movies to you. And I picked this movie because this is a very, different from a typical Hindi movie. Even these days, forget about like this movie was released in 1960, so that the theme was very different, and I have to say bold in a way, for taking into the theme in the terms of social circumstances and everything that it touched upon. Even for today, it will be kind of taboo or radical. So in those days, it was very
Yes,
much so,
yes,
and it didn't do particularly well at the box office, but it got good name later on. Like when
mm,
people, especially after the Zameer movie, when people realized that it was kind of based on the same similar story, and
right.
then
Yeah, just to
yeah,
let people know, it's based on a short story by the author O. Henry, and the name of the short story was The Double-Dyed Deceiver, and it was the same basis, as you said, for the Amitabh Bachchan film Zameer, which I have not seen. But this was to be honest with you, I just I didn't know what I was going to be getting into going into the film. The initial scenes of the film of Dev's character coming out of the jail, and this cop, which you later learn was his childhood friend, is watching him, and like the whole credit scenes is just very atmospheric. Of you're in the car with the police,
yeah, yeah,
and you're following Devanam's friend's car in the rain, and it just there was some fight sequences and really extreme close-ups in the opening scenes. It just felt very noir and very cool. And then once Devanam goes on the
yes.
run, after he accidentally kills someone in a
Froze
fight,
now. I'll
yeah,
wait because you're frozen for now.
and then he goes on this train journey, and he ends up um spoiler, the movie's been out for 60 years, but he ends up pretending to be the long lost son in the house, and with a blind mother, and they just kind of naively accept him in. And it's all a con, but he is completely, here's a kid who had not had family life. He'd been in juvenile home and whatever, and he's just kind of completely taken with being part of this family, and he doesn't want to con them anymore. And okay, you're gonna have to remind me, there was a similar kind of a plot with Mahesh Babu. What was that film?
Yeah, Atadu.
Yes, okay. So that's that the family part, where you have this person who thinks they're a killer, but they just want to be part of a family. That's what I loved about that film with Mahesh Babu, and so all of those scenes reminded me of that, and I just love that. But this film has a twist, and that Suchitra Sen plays his sister Maya, but he knows he's not really her sister. But she doesn't know that, and he there through all of these songs he is showing his romantic feelings for her, and it's quite awkward for her. Like he puts a flower in her hair, all of the, she tries to tie a Rakhi on him. He's like, no, I don't want that. And I've watched enough Hindi films that I knew, oh boy. So that they really were on the edge here with sort of a incest, kind of a relationship. And she, and that was so edgy. I was just thinking, wow, this is 1960. This is really edgy material. So yeah, I mean,
Yes,
I
it
think
is.
it's just really probably unusual. It would be unusual in a Hollywood classic film too, right? I mean, it sort of made me think of Chinatown or something like that, where there's just, that's kind of the big underlying tension, in the plot. So anyway, there's so many things going on, and Devanand is just so awesome because he's just so tortured and he's so amazing in fight sequences, and he's just oozes this cool. And not to take anything away from Suchitra Sen, because she I think this is one of the rare Hindi films. She's known for doing films in like
Bengali.
So it was, to me, she was so luminous on film.
Oh, she was. Yes.
Just amazing. And the music is by S.D. Burman, and it's just a masterpiece. I think there's 7 songs in the film, and they're all amazing. And not only that, I was really intrigued with besides just the song set pieces, just the background score. And from the opening moments of the film, even just has that, I don't know, it reminded me like of a Hitchcock film.
Yes,
we have so much percussion and drums and interesting drum sounds, and which just kind of ramps up the tension in a lot of the scenes that, so it's just, and that's what I love when you have noir thriller kind of aspects that are enhanced so much by the music underlying the scenes. Yeah. So, are you a huge fan of Dev Anand, or was this just the whole noir aspect of the film? What is it that makes this one a favorite for you?
So for me, it's a combination, like, because I'm a fan of Devanand also, like, among other actors. But the main, for me, the thing I like about this movie is the noir, how it was tackled. Like, it was a very sensitive subject, and he touched the director, like he's a famous director actually. So he touched upon it, and he kind of the intricacies, he dealt with it very sensitive manner, I have to say. Like, there was no, even though the subject was, going into what would be called incest, it was not vulgar in any way, and he ramped up the tension between the two characters very nicely. It was slow, and it was a kind of slow burn kind of, it was not like immediately he was floored by her and like that. It was he built it up very slowly, and then he kind of wove the thread very nicely. So I never saw it again in any other Indian movie period. Oh, I mean, actually, even Hollywood movie either. So just wanted to mention, because the Henry story, Double-Dyed Deceiver, it's not the complete story, because that story basically is the basis where the mistaken identity part, but the sister part was not there in that story. So that one, that is the new thing that was added to this story, to the O. Henry story. So that is something which, that is the reason why I kind of like Devanand movies, because he didn't shy away from playing these kind of characters and these kind of themes, even though they did not always do well at the time. And he knew his limitations. He was not considered as a great actor like Dilip Kumar or Raj Kapoor, but within his limitations, he kind of explored themes which were ahead of the times that he came in. But this particular movie, stood out for me mainly for the characterization and the way that it was tackled.
Yeah, I agree with you that it was all very sensitively done. I never felt like, I mean, even though the songs were quite emotional and he was expressing this longing for this love that he couldn't have, and one particular really sad song in the second half. And the ending is quite tragic in that she lets him know that she always that she knew, you know, as
Yeah,
she's leaving, he has made it possible, you know, gets the jewelry back that the bad guy stole and all of that, so that her wedding can go forward. And it was interesting, like we never see the groom, like the groom
yeah,
has
yeah, yeah.
flowers in front of it, and we
Yes,
never see his face. He's not important. Like she's just going on
yeah,
for her whole life
exactly.
with him, and he's not important. But she's going away, and he's the one that helps her into the cart as she's going away, and tearfully they're looking at each other as she's as leaving. But she lets him know before she leaves that she knows he's not really her brother, and that but
Brother,
she can
yes.
still see the love in her eyes and the love in his eyes. And it's, I mean, it was just like, oh my gosh, Dub set me up for this tragic movie. But oh, it was just so beautiful though. It's just so
Yeah, yeah, it
beautifully done.
was.
And this director, I really Raj Khosla, is that how you say?
Raj
um
Khosla, yeah.
Raj Khosla. I really admired him because I felt like there was especially in the noir first section, really interesting camera angles, really interesting shots. There was, you know, just someone that was having doing a lot of interesting things with the camera. So you know, it wasn't all cut and dry, just you know, like any other movie that you would see, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm not,
Yeah,
you know, I'm not an expert in describing all the different ways that someone uses a camera like that, but it was just really engaging and added to the tension. Again, sort of reminded me of Hitchcock or something, where you're just seeing people in very tense um scenes and extreme close up or weird off kilter angles to let you know that this is a really tense, off kilter kind of a situation that
yes.
the characters are in. And so I just the whole way, but then the beautiful song sequences were also very well filmed in interesting ways too. You know, I was just like, how many different ways have I seen, you know, dancing girls and whatever in so many different Indian songs. And I felt like here I'm watching a film from 1960 and I'm still seeing some things that are fresh and new to me that I hadn't seen before. So I appreciated that too. So would you have
Yeah.
a favorite? Do
And
you have a
also,
favorite
yeah,
song from the soundtrack? Is there one particular
yeah,
uh
I like the two songs. One is the introduction song with his friends, like, and the one the time they see him, like, there is a song, right? She had just warned him that, be careful with the village girls here, like, they will steal your heart and stuff. And then he'll say, like, I have seen plenty of, beautiful girls in Bombay. And then the other song is the one in the field, like, where he comes from the rise, like, to the ladder. And
yeah.
just before the dream, where it's like when he has a dream about her, like, where he wants to, he thinks that he's professing his love for her and tells her that he's not her brother. And so those two songs are my favorite. The second half, the slow song, is also very good, like when he's but the first two songs, those two songs stand out for me. And I think one more thing I wanted to mention was, so Raj Khosla, that was this was his fifth straight movie with Devanam. His first directorial movie was with Devanam, and he had this is his, so they had a good working relationship, because his movies were a little bit radical for the time, and not many people were willing to take the risk. And Devanand kind of used to, like, he liked taking risks, so he backed him up quite a bit at the time. So
Yeah, I like that when someone is using their stardom to get interesting scripts made, you know? I mean, I view, like,
yes,
for instance, Fahad Fazil would be a good example of someone, you know, in
oh
modern
yeah,
day
yeah,
Kerala cinema who
yes,
uses his stardom to get and is willing to take a supporting role even sometimes to get an interesting script made. Um, Reading about Devanand, I was amazed
Yes.
at the length of his career. Oh my gosh. Like, and then he directed several films himself. So what is this your favorite Devanand film, or do you have another one that is your favorite?
So story wise, this is my favorite Devanand film. But I like his other movies in terms of his presence and all that. I will never say his movie stands out for acting. Like Guide is another movie which I think I like. As much for the story. It's very different and ahead of its times. There are a couple of other movies which the story is very different, and he plays. I will not say bad character, but like a normal character. Like the hero, it's not a typical hero with all the goody two shoes and that kind of stuff. He has this negative and positive, and he plays them a normal guy.
Yeah.
So, and the thing I like about Devanand is all his movies in general have great music. He was very particular about the songs on his movies. So he used to go to every song recording, and he made sure that the song was up to his standards, because he was very familiar with Indian classical music at the time, which was rare.
Wow.
And so he used to make sure his songs were up to a minimum standard. So from the older movies, if you take Devanand, Shami Kapoor, and Raj Kapoor, you will have covered the major hit songs of the time, like 90% are so yeah, story wise, there are other movies which I like, but this is very different for me. That's the reason it's among my favorites.
So the film CID, is that also with this same director? Am I remembering correctly?
Yeah, that was his first movie. That's the director's first movie.
Okay. Okay. So what kind of is it also kind of a noir kind of a movie, or is it very different than that?
It's a crime thriller mixed with noir. It
Okay.
was a. So have you heard of this famous director called Guru Dutt of
Mm-hmm. Yep.
old? So Raj Khosla was an assistant to Guru Dutt for many years. So his movies were a very good quality in terms of atmosphere and editing. And he tackled a variety of things. He even tackled a dacoit drama in the 1970s, which was a very good movie as well, with Vinod Khanna. So his aura was very wide ranging. So yeah, so he was Raj Khosla was assistant to Guru Dutt for a few years in the beginning, like the early 1950s, and then when he became a director, he retained a lot of the education that he had as assistant to Guru Dutt. So his movies like very similar to Guru Dutt's movies. The use of light and dark and element, and then it had very good music. And also he tackled a lot of different themes. He dabbled in tragedy. He even had a very good dacoit drama, or dacoit drama with 1970s with Vinod Khanna and Dharmendra, called Mera Gaon Mera Desh. That's also a very good movie. So he directed right into the late 1970s. He won awards for his movie. He was a very intelligent director, right from the beginning. And CID was his first movie.
Yeah, I mean that's one that CID is one that I'm gonna want to try to check out because this director and Devanand seem to have such a good partnership relationship together. Like it's a really good
Yes,
fit.
yes, yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
so what other, if I wanted to see like a more traditional, maybe romantic film with Devanand, what would be your number one pick for something like that?
There is a movie by the same director called Solva Sal, and it's basically based off Frank Capra's "It Happened One Night." So the
Oh,
whole
you
story
sold me right there. You
happens in one
sold
night,
me right there. I love that
and
movie.
all-time favorite heroine Wahida Rahman. So that's a very good light-hearted movie between the two. I would recommend that.
Okay. I could totally see.
Same director and same hero.
Yeah. Now, because I've seen there's a Raj Kapoor film
Yeah,
based on that same was that Chori Chori? Am I remembering correctly? Anyway, that based on the
yeah,
same
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, and I have seen that. I've seen that classic
Chori
film.
Chori, yes.
So yeah, I it never gets old.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
love
this
I
is
love
this, oh yeah. So this is similar to that, but he adds a little bit of kind of makes it a little bit thriller kind of. He adds a little bit of thriller or crime angle to it, but it's not like a criminal or crime thriller, but it's there is investigation. Yeah. So one thing which I also liked was in this movie was Suchitra Sen's character. Right. She right from the beginning she kind of probes a little bit. She doesn't like blindly so she asks him questions which he finds tricky, like, where did you go after you got lost? How did you come to find out about this? How did you come now? Why did you come now, not before? And then, so she kind of investigates a little bit, other unlike his parents who kind of blindly believe that, he's
Yes.
there. So that is one thing which I liked. Her character was very well written, and she didn't just blindly believe. So that is another thing which I liked. I think the way it was. And later when she finds out, like, that he's not her brother, she says, so my initial suspicion was right. Like, he's not my brother and stuff. So I think that was something also which I liked about the
Yeah,
movie.
I agree with you. I like that she was a very intelligent heroine. That she, like you said, the parents just wanted to believe that this was their long lost son, and she always
Yeah,
had some suspicions. Like you said, she was the one asking the probing questions, and it was her parents that are just like, "Oh no, of course, he's our son. We've been waiting for 20 years, and here he is." And she's the
yeah,
one who's kind of keeps an eye out, and when she thinks he's acting suspiciously, she follows him, but she doesn't expose him because she keeps thinking about how it would break her mother's heart, because her mother
her
basically
parents.
is
Yeah,
says, if you make him leave again, like over, she overhears an argument between her parents, basically, if you're harsh and make him
yeah,
leave again, you might as well just bury me right now. Like, I'm just kill me right
yeah,
now, because this is all I'm living for right now, that my son is back. And so she is warily, continuing to watch him, after she hears that that he's been conning the family. So yeah, I did like that she was, she wasn't like a too stupid to live kind of heroine that just is a pretty face.
yeah.
She has her, she has her own smarts and her own suspicions, but doesn't just go recklessly, blindly, blundering through things either. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really like that about her. And she's just so
And one more thing is,
luminously beautiful. Just so beautiful.
oh wow,
I
yeah.
mean, just the star power
She
on the screen. Oh my gosh.
she was
Amazing.
already a star in Bengali movies before she came here, and yeah, she was already well established. The funny thing is, she did only 2 or 3 movies, Hindi movies, like when she was as a heroine, and later she acted as a senior actress. I think one well-known movie with Sanjeev Kumar is Andhi, which came out in 1975, in which she was the actress. We cannot call them hero heroine because they played a senior role in that, but yeah, that was her most famous movie, I should say, in Hindi.
Yeah, I mean, the original actress that was supposed to do this film was Madhubala, but because of health reasons, she could not do it. And I think, I mean, I when I read that, I could imagine how wonderful she would have been in the role, but it's completely
Oh
Suchitra
yeah,
Sen's film.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, you have someone who is of the same level, or, possibly even more screen presence than
yeah.
Devanam. You have these two powerhouse actor and actress in this film, which is just magic on screen,
Yes.
just magic. It's absolute magic.
So the one more thing which really I liked was a couple of things. One is there are 3 scenes like which showed the awkwardness between the two. One is the first time, like, he kind of starts noticing her as a woman, like, rather than a sister. Was like, I think she'll be plucking flowers from the field or something, and then the background music was it was very different, and it kind of added to the atmosphere. Like, he'll be kind of scanning her, and then he will suddenly look at her differently rather than a sister. That's just when he'll put the flower in her hair. And the other scene was when he has a dream, like he's taking her picture, and like after one of the songs, like he has a dream, and then in his dream, like he'll be clicking a picture, and he'll ask her to keep coming closer, and then he will say, "You're very beautiful," and then he imagines the whole sequence. That was also, I thought, very intensely picturized, and I think there, I think he did very well. Like he showed his desperation and anguish. And the third one is when he wants to tie the necklace, that was for his wife around her neck. And there also the intensity was, the discomfort was very palpable, like between the what Suchitra said was. So those kind of scenes, to me, the way their characters interact was very intense and very well made, I thought. And there he did very well, actually. Those were tough
I think they both did very
scenes to make.
well. I think
Oh
she
yeah,
did.
yeah.
I think she did a really good
She,
job of showing her discomfort, and how,
yeah,
like I said, she was testing him. Like, let me tie a
yeah,
rock, let me tie this rock in you. But just her discomfort in the flower scene, particularly, and the and the necklace. And I was very
yeah,
glad that I saw this film, having seen so many other Hindi films, so that I knew, what the layers of meaning to that scene.
yeah,
He's just saying, "Well, you just wear this necklace
yeah.
until my bride comes," and just like, oh no. Don't be tying a necklace around,
Don't.
so it just, I was really glad that I really was able to. I'm sure there was so many other layers of meaning and other scenes that I didn't get, but I was glad that I was, because it just, there were so many layers there in some of those scenes, and I was glad that I was able to
Yes.
appreciate how well they were able to communicate that. um uh, just such great acting in this film. I even enjoyed, really, the kind of theatrical quality of a lot of the smaller side characters.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the character's name was Bhagat, was the one that kind of tells him the whole scheme, and gets him
Oh yeah, yeah.
to pretend to go in the house as the long lost son. They all kind of had a
Yes, yes.
theater quality to them. There, I don't know, there was
Yeah,
just a lot of good acting all around. So, especially, like I said, him in
yeah, yeah.
particular, I thought was good. I mean, some of the other ones were just there for
Oh
more
yeah, yeah.
comedic relief. But even the parents, I think, did very well. The woman that played the blind mother and everything. So I just, just the like I said, the theme of a someone who craves family, being in that situation and feeling like they're not worthy of it, is just like my catnip. Like I said,
Yeah.
like the Mahesh Babu movie. And I
Actually,
didn't
yes.
know that that's what this movie was going to be about. And when we started those scenes, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be great!" Like, I just really resonated with that. And it just, it had so many different things going on. I mean, it is a slower pace than a modern film would be. But I don't mind that. I don't mind that, because we're lingering over beautiful songs and beautiful music, and I just
Totally.
thought
You're
it
posing
was
here.
great.
So I think the guy who played the villain, his name is Rashid Khan, and so I think I also like the way he slowly eased Devanam into the scheme in the beginning, and then slowly ramped up the pressure, to make him hurry, the way he
Yeah,
showed his impatience. He I thought he showed that very well. Uh,
yeah,
Initially, you wouldn't think that he was that kind of, he could put the pressure on Devanand, so he kind of eased him into it a little bit. He saw that Devanand was kind of, he gauged that he was afraid of the cops, and he knew that he had some story. And he kind of pieced together a little bit, and then slowly he ramped up the pressure by telling him to, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, and that kind of made the story more intense, because now Devanand has a deadline. He has the marriage. He also has to steal the jewelry, everything by that night, and so the ending setup was good.
so one thing, can you, I wasn't sure if the subtitles, by the way, this film is available, I think it's on Eris now, but I watched it, there's a copy that's on YouTube, the complete film with English subtitles. So the very ending of the film, his policeman friend has come to the wedding, And when they're walking kind of away from the camera at the end, is he walking back to be with the family, or is he walking, is the police, do you think the policeman is taking him away, or what would I was not sure. I was guessing that he was staying with the family, but what do you think the ending meant?
The ending meant, I think he was going back to his family. So now, I mean, because she didn't reveal the truth about him, and she has left anyway. So, and now the villain has been taken care of. So now I think he's kind of on a safer ground. So without any of the tension or the baggage that he had come in. So my take is he was going back to his family as a son.
Okay. Yeah, because the policeman friend says, "I'm here as your friend." But I just was like, the fact that they were showing them walking together at the end, I was just like, okay, is he, there was a little question in my mind because I didn't know if the YouTube just kind of suddenly ended and if there was
Yeah.
sometimes, when they translate something, there's shades of meaning that don't
Yes.
necessarily come through in the English. So I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss something at the very end, because definitely you could see that Devanand, his character, felt guilty, and even though everyone was telling him, you're our treasured
Yes.
son because you've saved the day, you've gotten the jewelry back, you've gotten your sister married, he still doesn't feel like he's worthy, even because
Yes.
he's tricked them, and also because he's discovered that he was the one that actually killed their real son, even if he didn't do it on
Yes. Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
And so he's racked with guilt, and I just thought he showed that so well. And his that's a sign of a real actor, a fine actor, that you can see all of those feelings that he's not saying
Yes.
in words necessarily, but you can see them in his face.
Yes. Yes.
Reminded me of like someone like Irfan Khan, where you could
Yeah.
just see so much of how he's feeling and thinking in his face, even without words.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Yes. And I
So
think uh, some few tidbits like about the actors. The guy who played Bhagat, right? Who dies like in the beginning. He plays a so that actor actually is holds the record for playing the police officer in the maximum number of movies.
yeah, I just just read that in Wikipedia. A world record. And it's funny, here he's playing the head of the gang, the
Yeah.
criminal who's trying to drag Devanand back into a life of crime, but yet
Yes.
he's known for playing a cop in every other film.
Yes. Yes. He actually played well into the 70s as a cop, and so that was a very, very funny twist because here he is playing completely opposite character. And by then he actually already started playing a cop. There is a famous Dilip Kumar movie called Madhumati, Dilip Kumar and Vaijayantimala. So if you want me to recommend any Dilip Kumar movies, I would recommend that, Madhumati. So that is one tidbit. And another tidbit is Devanand and Dilip, Guru Dutt. So they go back a long way. When Devanand came to Bombay to become an actor, he struggled for a few years, and so Guru Dutt was his roommate or housemate, so to speak, and they were both struggling at the time. And so Devanand, they made a pact. This is also in Wikipedia, but I read it before also, where Devanand said, like, if I make a movie, I produce a movie, you will direct it. And Guru Dutt said, if I direct a movie, you will act in it as a hero. So Devanand's first movie as a producer was Guru Dutt's first movie as a director. So
Mm.
they had a partnership, and Raj Khosla was assistant to Guru Dutt right from there. So Raj Khosla, Devanand, and Guru Dutt, they all had very good camaraderie and work relationship. So that continued through most of Raj Khosla's career.
Yeah. I mean, the amazing tight knitness of the Bollywood film industry. Well, I mean, the Kerala film
Yeah,
industry reminds me of that right
yeah,
now, where you feel like they have those partnerships. Like, I'll direct you in this film. I'll be your supporting character in your film when you're directing. Like, all of these kind of handshake
that's true.
and friendship agreements. Um, yeah, this was just an absolute wonderful film, and I'm so glad it was such a, like I said, a breath of fresh air, just something completely different, something noir and atmospheric, and A little bit on the edge there with an almost kind
Yeah,
of an incest kind of a plot. A little. I'm glad you didn't warn me of any of that because it was just
yeah,
kind of you didn't let me know any you just maybe you said noir, but you didn't let me know any of those kinds of things,
anything,
and I
yes.
didn't look it up before I watched it, and I was glad that I just kind of had surprise after surprise
Yeah.
as I was watching it. So that was
I
wonderful.
figured the incest part would be a surprise to you because you would not see that coming. Like, even though the Atadu part, like, where he goes impersonate someone else, that was a twist in itself. But the relationship between his sister, like, that was an entirely new dimension that I thought was very rare. So that, I think, kind of lifted the movie in a little bit in a different way. Otherwise, it would have been a good movie still, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been add that edginess to it.
Right. It added just a whole nother level of
Yeah,
tension to the film
attention to the movie. Yeah, yeah. And
and
also one
tragedy.
last thing is, yeah, the song, the first song, like there is a song where, like, where she introduces him to her friends, like,
Yeah.
Bombai Ka Babu, the title song. That was actually borrowed from a Telugu song, and SD Burman, requested the Telugu music director that he wants to reuse that song, and so it's a very popular Telugu song, and SD Burman reused it here. And but that song became big hit in Hindi as well. And incidentally, that was a song which launched Wahida Rahman's career in movies. Because
Oh.
in the Telugu film, that she only came for that one song, but that
Oh,
song was such a huge hit that, she acted she went on to become a heroine in Telugu and Tamil movies before she came to Hindi movies.
wow.
Yeah,
This was awesome. Everyone should check out Dev's YouTube channel, Wandering Soul, where he talks about other classic Hindi songs and older film songs. And
such I
okay,
think my channel is a very new channel, fledgling channel, so people can check me out there.
okay,
But I want to thank you because I, I I felt like, this is a movie which might be up your alley. I have been watching a channel for a couple of years now, so I was really looking forward to, having a conversation with someone about this movie. Not many people have seen this movie, and so I thought like it'll be a good conversation. But and thank you so much, Melanie,
I
for
definitely
having me
think
on.
that I definitely think that my competitor channels have not covered this movie.
Yeah,
But you were right. This is one thing that I love about having this channel is that I feel like you and other viewers have really gotten to know me and know what I like, and then you recommend films that you know that I would really enjoy that otherwise I might not have ever found, and that's been a wonderful thing for me. So I really appreciate that you introduced Devanam to me and pushed me to see one of his films, and such an interesting film too. It
oh, yeah.
was really wonderful. Anyway, so you can find Dev a link to his Wandering Soul site in the description below. Thank you again, Dev, for joining me. And you can find me on Twitter at PardeziYT, Instagram at Pardesi Reviews. And please do subscribe both to Dev's channel and here. And if you hit the bell, you'll never miss another film review or trailer reaction.